A lot of people have had experiences with not caring about what they learn, which can explain why the education system doesn't care about its students and whatever they learn. Their only point is to ensure that nobody gets left behind and that everyone fits the one-size-fits-all system, which educationally doesn't work. When we had to build multiple factories and businesses, everyone wanted to become the average person and get the money that they could. But the system thought that if anybody wanted to come to them, they were making their lives too simple, and so education was significant so that the average person would think that they were not special. If you were the average person, you would learn basic English and arithmetics, which were hard at the time because average people couldn't do anything related to education. Everything was fun and games until education turned into a big business, and just like with every other business, everything starts as a fun little project until greed comes and takes it all away. Starting from these basic concepts, education turned the average person into thinking that they need to stay educated longer than needed. Even though it's possible to go to school and get the average education, many people nowadays are loaded with a lot of work that's practically useless, such as honors, AP, SATs, ACTs, standardized tests, and everything in between. The topic of this video is caring or giving yourself a reason to care about learning, but I'd first like to explain this concept using the opposite way, that is, why people do not care about learning. When many people go to school, they're not really asked about what they learn. They're forced to sit in classes and look at boards 24/7, not being able to choose which classes to take. Because they're not getting enough freedom, these students end up not caring about the class subject, let alone all of the subjects combined. In my opinion, it's better to ask students why they're learning what they're learning and how would they like to learn it. But that's easier said than done because a lot of people are taking classes simply because they're forced to, especially through core standards. On the negative side, most students end up failing or barely passing these classes because they're so elongated that it will take a lifetime to just explain every concept of them. Math and science are more one-dimensional and authoritarian, meaning that they're taught only one way. The problems have to be completed using one way, and if you try to do it your way, you'll be punished, which makes you not care about what you learn. English and social studies give you a bit more freedom because you have the option of writing, and so you're graded on what you write and how you write it, unlike the guessing game with math and science. The problem, however, is that these classes can get very boring because you read about things you don't want to read about, and you write things you don't want to write, thus making you not care even more. If you tend to fail these subjects, you'll be told to try harder and retake them until you pass. On the other hand, there are electives, and if you fail those, you'll be told that it's not your thing, don't worry about it, and take a different elective if you can. On the positive side, many students actively pass their electives because they have more freedom in their chosen subjects, and thus simply care more. When I was in high school, I willingly took a CrossFit elective, and I really liked how I was educated, therefore, I gave myself a reason to learn regardless of the grade I had. And the grade that you have might be the biggest deceptive concept in education. The one thing that forcibly makes students care is their grades, but they do so very unsuccessfully. If the grading aspect was eliminated, nobody would really care about any subject because the grade is all that matters. Students care about their grades and not what they learn or how they learn, so instead, they look for other possibilities to get the grades they need. They do so because they need to get a good grade using any method, like cheating, and therefore, they don't have a reason to care about how they learn. When students cheat on exams, it's because the school system values grades more than students value learning. Because the system doesn't care about how you learn, students have no point in learning how they want. Instead, they decide to cheat, and I do not blame them because I was in their position and I also did not care. Now, just to specify, I do not value plagiarism and I'm seriously against cheating and do not promote it. But my point goes to show that if you cared about what you learn, you would not cheat in the first place. What matters the most about learning the right way is caring about what you learn. If you really love what you learn, you'll care enough to not cheat because you love your subject so much. Out of every subject that I had in school, I always took foreign language courses the most seriously because it was the only subject that I actively used outside of school. Additionally, I consider foreign languages to be very useful in life because who knows when you'll need them and with whom. The reason I took foreign language classes very seriously is because I cared about my learning and I cared about how I learned, even going as far as teaching myself languages and opening a YouTube channel dedicated to language learning. I always reminded myself that no one was forcing me to learn, I was choosing to learn my way. And this is the mindset that I believe every person should have. I'm not saying to think like me, but what I am saying is to at least have this principle of caring, because if you care hard enough, you'll learn anything you want, even if the odds are against you. Give yourself a reason to learn and give yourself a reason to care. If you can successfully do that, you'll find yourself in a free mindset where it's only you and your thoughts. And from there, you'll never look for excuses and learn however you want. Give yourself a reason to learn and give yourself a reason to care about the thing you learn. Thank you for watching. I hope that you cared enough to watch till the end, and I hope that you learned something from this video.